Hi there YouTube. Today, a little bit of a departure. I wanted to do a response video to this video that I found that had been put up by MGTOW files, link in the description. Basically, the basic story and concept of this story is that a man is being blamed for getting a woman drunk, and then she had a motor accident, and I'm not sure, I can't remember because I only just watched it, so pathetic I know. But she caused an accident and people were hurt, killed, whatever. Please watch the clip for full details. Now, the whole concept is, well, this guy, shouldn't have given her drinks because she was drunk already. The clear concept being that anything she now does because she is drunk isn't her fault, because it's the fault of the person that made her drunk. Now, this is just, it's pure victim culture, absolutely crystallized to the degree. Another YouTuber, and I'm really sorry I can't remember who it is, please, if anyone can remember, put it in the comments and I'll add it to the description, made the comment about victim culture and actually used automotive accidents as an example of, well, how can you people say this and then, women are allowed to drive and are held responsible. And here we are suddenly, a woman not in effect trying to use the I'm not responsible because somebody else gave me a drink. This is plainly ridiculous. If you were, I'm gonna use the R word. So if something happens against your will, it is not your fault. If you are raped, full on, genuine, actual, proper rape, in other words, somebody that you don't like pins you down and physically enters you, and I'm doing it in a gender neutral way because women can rape too, that is rape. It was done against your will. So the only possible way that you could be responsible for somebody else being drunk is by literally holding their mouth open, holding their head back and tipping the alcohol into them. That is the only way that another person can be responsible for somebody else's state. If a restaurant feeds you a meal and you have an anaphylactic shock and you have a problem because it's got an ingredient you are allergic to, as long as the restaurant basically says, if you've got a problem, let us know, we'll confirm stuff, then it's your fault for eating the food if you then have a problem. You can't sue the restaurant. And in the same way, the thing, it's all about proof of intent. Proof of intent. Now, even if you're going to go with the tenant idea, the concept that it's somebody else's fault, which is nonsense, but even if you're going to go for that, you have to say, well, he shouldn't have given her a drink because he already knew she was drunk. Okay, so he gave her a drink, even though, assuming he knew she was drunk. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. We're not told. Now, how are you supposed to know, as the person giving the quote-unquote drunk person a drink, how are you supposed to know how they're going to get home? Are they going to get picked up by a boyfriend or girlfriend? Don't know. Are they going to have a taxi home, or are they going to drive home themselves? Don't know. Are they going to get public transport home? Don't know. Do they live 20 feet down the road? You don't know. And I would suggest it's pretty ridiculous to, before offering to buy somebody a drink, you almost have to breathalyze them in order to sort this out, because some people can deal with their drink better than others. I know people who can be absolutely slammed, but as long as they're sitting down, you almost wouldn't know. Almost wouldn't know. Clearly, they probably are a little bit looser with the way they talk, but they're still, they've been drinking for a number of years, but they try and stand up and you can tell they can't walk in a straight line. But sitting down, you wouldn't know. So if you bought somebody a drink who was one of these people and they were sitting down, do you want another drink? Yes, no problem. You wouldn't know they'd already had 30 drinks would be a bit excessive, but you wouldn't know they'd already had a load of drinks. So, and also, wouldn't you be creeped out if somebody said, "Hi, let me buy you a drink. Oh, and by the way, how many drinks have you already had? Can you prove to me you're not going to be trying to drive home tonight?" Is anyone seriously going to ask that question? And if you were asked that question, are you seriously going to answer that question? Because whose business is it, of anyone's, how I'm going to get home tonight? Whose business is it? It's nobody's business. It's my business. I have a responsibility to myself to make sure that I leave the place in a reasonable fashion and get home safely. It's not your job to make sure I get home safely. I mean, it's just victim culture that nobody reckons that they are responsible. Everything is somebody else's fault. You know, it boggles my mind. The only people who you could potentially say it's not their fault are children. And that's why children are the responsibility of an adult until they hit adult age. This is why children, when they do commit dodgy crimes, causes so much outrage, and also why they are not immediately put into the same kind of care. If you are a child and you commit murder, and they do, just look up the James Bulger case on Wikipedia if you ever want to know about children capable of committing murder. They don't get put into if you've committed murder, you get put into a maximum security prison or whatever. If you're a child and you're put into a young offenders institution of one sort or another, depending on which country you live in. But adults should be held responsible for their actions. The only time you shouldn't, or the only defence you can ever have, is this thing happened to me because I was unable to avoid the thing happening to me. If you are drunk, you made yourself drunk. You might have been. Somebody could buy me, let's say, and I'm not, for instance, but let's just use epilepsy as an example, right? Let's just say I'm epileptic, okay? Flashing lights are a problem, okay? If I became let's be becoming crazy. If I became a celebrity and then stood on the red carpet and, all the photographers took photographs of me, flash, 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 and they set off my epilepsy, that's not their fault. They are not necessarily to know I'm epileptic, and I've put myself in that position. If I'm epileptic and I know that flashing lights are going to cause me a problem, what do? I either tell people not to take photographs of me, or I don't do the red carpet or something. It's not difficult. It's not impossible. You can't then blame everybody else for your problem. It's a problem that you've got. It's a problem you have to deal with. And it's the whole victim culture thing. It just annoys me. I'm going to do another video, I think, probably about this in a short while, if this video is reasonably interesting to people. Otherwise, why would I want to? But I enjoy these videos. But it's just, if there's a thing about the wage gap, which is what I probably will do another video on shortly. And the whole point is the wage gap is it's already been legislated against. It's illegal to do the wage gap thing, but women constantly want to do the victim card. Everyone seems to have the victim card, and the trouble is everybody wants a victim card. And the interesting thing to come out of this is what happens when you get two victims fighting each other. Those are the interesting times. What happens, I'd actually like to know, what happens when two women divorce. Now, I don't know if this has already happened. Maybe it has, maybe it hasn't. I probably should do some investigation in this. What happens when two women divorce? Because, basically, both of them have to get the house. Because the woman gets the house. Both of them have to get half the other person's shit. Because that's what happens. The woman gets half the other person's shit. Yeah, this is when, funnily enough, the only time you ever get true justice, I suspect, is when it's two people of the same gender fight it out, because modern society is just so obsessed with victim culture that they cannot let it go. Everything is somebody else's fault, and therefore people should be sued. It's ridiculous, it's crazy, it's nutty, and this video that I found that talks about this bloke potentially being criminalised for buying someone a drink because that person was then drunk, got in a car, and remember, being a drunk driver is a crime. DUI, I believe it's known in the States, drunk under the influence. You are deemed to have put your... Again, if you were literally strapped into the car, gaffer taped to the wheel, and ordered to drive with a gun against your head, then you're a victim. Then you are a victim. But if you got in the car and drove that vehicle and then caused a problem, it's your fault. And it's time people just shut the flippity flip up about victim culture. It's gone too far. It's just ridiculous.